So 200 years ago, the famous German strategist Karl von Clausewitz said, every information we receive is either wrong, not precise, or at least uncertain. My view on that is still valid today. I said management and project management is about living, navigating, and deciding in an environment of uncertainty. And if you think it's true, most of the data we have is based on perception. And even we have computers and modern communication tools, information is still about passing it from one individual to another. And that leaves a lot of room for interpretation and therefore another uncertainty. It's stacking up. So as a manager, if you do feel uncomfortable in uncertainty, you might be at the wrong place. I'd say management is the art about deciding and living in uncertainty. Uncertainty is part of our reality, and we better learn how to live with uncertainty, period. Let's talk about the illusion of accuracy, the illusion of certainty. For example, you have a progress report. We all know progress reports. You have a huge waste Excel sheet, spreadsheet, and somewhere next to a task, there's this little cell where you can punch in your progress. We all have done that. You have done that. All right. I have two questions for you. Number one, how did you calculate the progress? Or was it just intuitive guessing, which is okay? The trouble starts with the second question. How do you know that your colleague working on a different task but on the same project is calculating or guessing the same way you do? Because if he does not, you get an inconsistency in the report. The report itself gets fuzzy. So 40% for you doesn't mean 40% readiness for him. So how to interpret that report? That is creating an illusion of accuracy. And it goes fast on Excel. I give you a second example. Let's say you're a project manager and you're a good project manager and you're a man in charge of a huge project. And you ask, whenever there's an uncertainty, a threat to the project, please file it, please report it, please tell me. By doing that, we all know out of our work experience that there's one guy who on best intention to give you full transparency will report every little threat to the project. On the other side, there's a senior project worker. He has seen it all. He's very experienced. He wouldn't file a report, a threat to the project, even if his task is in total jeopardy. Even if all his stakes are burning, he wouldn't file because he thinks that is normal project work and he can stand it. Now, I gave you two examples which occur very often in reports I've seen, where the question itself creates an illusion of certainty. We haven't defined how to answer that question. Usually it's not done. So as much as I said before that we have to live with uncertainty, which is okay, we should avoid at all costs to create an illusion of certainty in an uncertain environment. That is something we should not do. Of course, you might say now, well, I can define rules how to calculate progress. Yes, you can. No doubt about it. I give you that. It might be a little more difficult to define rules when to report a threat to the project. For both items, I would say it's not worth the effort. There's another thing I would love you to focus on because that is worth the effort, and that is what is called the definition of done. In a progress report, next to every task, you have this little field that says task done, completed. Now, for example, let's say you have a little bit trouble with a supplier and you ask your colleague, write a letter. And he said, sure, I do. And he writes a letter. You ask him, did you write the letter? Yes, I did. 2 weeks later, you wonder if the supplier has responded to that letter. And you ask, did the supplier respond to the letter? And your colleague goes, hell no, the letter is ready for you to sign so we can send it out. Problem of definition of done. Make sure you know precisely what it means a task is closed. Is it just prepared? Is it tested? Is it certified? Is it rolled out already? Think as early as possible in your project of the definition of done. If it comes to contract management, it should be something like, that paragraph is fully negotiated, agreed on, and in a folder read only. We don't touch it anymore. Something like that. Many times out of my experience, the definition of done is another source of uncertainty. And that is something you can handle easily, but do it early in the project. What does it mean? The task is ready, it's done. We don't have to touch it anymore.